Let's move on to topic number 3. We read a fascinating op-ed from Clay Shirky, the vice provost of NYU, who's sounding the alarm on AI, but it's not for the reason you think. He's, of course, worried about students abdicating their paper writing to AI, but he's actually more concerned with how students use AI for their emotional offloading. Quote, farming out social intuitions could hurt young people more than opting out of writing their own history papers. I think one thing that we've seen in the last couple of years is like having full-blown relationships with chatbots and using them for therapy and stuff like that gets all of the attention. But it's the more subtler use of AI as a social prosthetic that's maybe more common and maybe more widely dangerous. What did you guys think of this? You have kids, JR, so what do you think?
It's hard for me to kind of fathom really what they're talking about, to be honest. Because there are uses for AI, big uses, and to limit the use by children is not only like futile, it's kind of ridiculous because that's just where the world is going. Right. Why would you not use these things? Kids can't use AI on papers when, as long as they don't write the paper with it, but that's all people are going to be using in the future anyway. So they should be learning how to use it in a correct way. All this stuff about, I had not known about the therapy bots, and I'd heard of the dating bots or the relationship bots and stuff like that. Am I even using bot right there?
Yeah, I think that's a correct usage.
Yeah, sure.
Right. But what was the last one you mentioned was
the thing that what we're talking about, which is the sort of emotional offloading. So I'll give you an example.
But there was one thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So an example of it is they use it when they're on Hinge, for example. The Hinge has reported that young users do a vibe check with AI before sending a message out. So they'll draft a message, they'll throw it in the AI and be like, does this sound too forward, to something, I don't know, insensitive, I don't know, whatever, and then they get the okay from a fucking computer,
right.
And then they send the message about love.
Right, which doesn't seem like a bad idea entirely, really, because they're not good at it, so they don't know. So they figure whatever's out there in the ether is going to be a little better at it, but they're not going to get good at it because they don't try.
That's exactly what Sharky is pointing out.
With my kids, when it comes to they're going to be trying that world soon enough. And it's like I was talking to my son, and he's talking about how, when his friends ask out a girl, it's all by text.
Yeah.
It's so there's no social interaction really. Direct social interaction is a thing that kind of doesn't exist. So you get really nervous about it, really anxious about it, and so you never fail, so you never learn. You can't learn without failing. And I just think back to again, it's in my day, but it wasn't that. It was well past my day as well, where you probably went through this as well. When you're in high school, if you wanted to ask a girl out, you had to walk up to her and while she was talking to all her friends, and just put your fucking life on the line. Because all your friends were behind you watching to see what happened, so they can either laugh at you or be like, "Oh fuck, man, now I got to try it."
Well, and even in the earlier days of social media, I did have Facebook in high school, but it would be so lame.
What am I doing here?
I'm so sorry. However,
you guys, just so we're clear, JR's so fucking old.
I learned basic programming in college.
You're going to have to answer to a jury later that I was an adult man.
You look like one. Enough of one.
But, it would be so lame to message someone on Facebook
it would be so lame,
ask them out. It was a matter of it was part of it was you have to be able to show the courage and, to be able to actually talk to someone face to face.
And then the other thing was, which I don't understand. I mean, I feel like the part of the process is using an interlocutor,
right,
to go and get the message.
Does she like me?
Does she like me? He's thinking of asking, would it work? Blah blah
that's
blah.
That's like the notes you used to pass. Do you like me? Yes or no? Now it's click yes.
It's a survey,
and
right?
It's 5 paragraphs.
It'll only take 3 minutes.
Well, but the other thing is like it's like now the interlocutor is not able to talk to anyone either. They're literally, I mean, like what was described in the piece, like about like, you know, a teacher asks a question, everyone's on their laptops, and you really quickly type it into ChatGPT and just read the answer. Like they're just literally not used to, when faced with a moment of critical thinking, just like relying on themselves, making their best guess, and as described, like making mistakes. Because when you make mistakes, it feels bad, and you're like, okay, great, I need to learn how to do better next time, and that's how you grow.
Yeah.
And there's none of that is happening.
Yeah,
in these cases.
it's the key words there are the critical thinking, executive function, just, you know, direct emotional attachment to something.
That in the classroom thing I found actually very depressing. They, you know, that basically to avoid the stress of an unscripted conversation,
Yes.
they put in what the professor's talking about. So like if they're called upon, they can like say something.
Oh, yeah, that.
I find
And then they're
was just
reading
like,
it off their
wow.
phones?
And they're essentially like reading it off their
Yeah,
laptops, and they're
that
all
shouldn't be
taking like
happening.
notes off of their
Yeah.
lap, which makes me also just feel like everything should look more like Aristotle now. You know, like there should just be pieces of paper and togas. You know what I mean? Like there should be like laptops should be banned, I
Yeah.
think, in the seminar room. Like why are we
Stephen,
even letting
put
that
down
happen?
your quill.
But you know what? It used to be, right? Like academia, like in that Roman sense, used to be more about verbal,
Right.
like the verbal chops.
Yes.
And
Socratic
the
seminar
Socratic
style, yeah.
method, etc.
My
Like
son's
that-
on the debate team, and I couldn't be happier that he's
Oh
doing
my
that.
God. Yeah. Verbal chops. I feel like this is what it has to come back to is we need to go full circle back to the, you know, to those days.
Well, a couple of things. Like one, I think that's going to be an increasing differentiating factor. Like I feel like 10, 15 years ago, everyone was like, you have to go into STEM, you have to deliver those skills. That's how you're going to stand out from everyone. And actually, those are the first jobs that are being rendered irrelevant because technology is replacing that kind of technical
And this was,
skill.
you're talking about like 6 years
Right,
ago.
not even that far long ago. Like literally, this is now. It's like there's no entry level STEM jobs, and everyone's panicking. And people who are actually able to have an interesting perspective and talk to people are actually in a better position. But the other thing about that is that when you use this technology, you really are just offloading your brain. You're using no critical thinking skills whatsoever. And I just really think that you start to lose any kind of sense of identity. And I had an experience with this recently where I got an email from a student at Stuyvesant High School, the most competitive high school in the country. And this guy was asking me, he had seen an article I had written about roasts for McSweeney's, and he was wanting to write a paper about like roasts and joking around and things like this, and he wanted to talk to me. And it was very obvious the email was written by AI.
Oh,
it was
man.
like a 7-paragraph, overly frilly thing. He called my writing exquisite.
Okay.
Which, like, I don't even think my
Dead
writing
giveaway.
is exquisite. And then I get on the phone with him, and after reading this extremely formal email from this guy, he's like, "Hey, bro, what's up?"
No, really on top of that?
Yes, literally.
Oh my
However,
God. Did you call him out on it?
I did. We had the
good.
whole conversation about it, and my heart started to melt as I was talking to him because I realized slowly but surely that he was wanting my advice about how he could roast his friends better because his friends were roasting him at school and he couldn't come up with comebacks.
So he wasn't actually writing a paper?
He was writing a paper, but the reason he did it was because his teacher was like, pick a topic that you want to talk about.
Yeah,
And that
okay.
was the thing that he was really wanting to learn. So so at the end, I was like, Taewoo, was this email written by AI? And he was like, I might have used AI to like punch it up a little bit.
Oh my God.
But-
and did you tell him like,
The upshot of that was like, I think that, I told him like in this conversation, like I've been very charmed by you. Like you seem like an interesting kid. Like I really think that like you should just feel comfortable communicating as yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be roasting people, you're going to have to be doing that because you can't ask ChatGPT to help you with your roast, in the 2 seconds it takes to have a comeback. But one thing I did take from it was like a little bit of hope because he genuinely was interested in trying. He really wanted
Right.
to like get, like find a better way to be better at socializing. But it's just crazy that he's in this environment where like so much is incentivized to, use these tools that it's something he has to consciously think about. Where he's like, I'm relying too much on this other stuff and I feel like I don't know how to talk to people. So I'm hopeful that, it's something that a lot of people will realize they need to develop. But yeah, it is a really scary environment.
You could have just told them, listen, no matter what your friends say to you, just tell them I was with your mother.
Yes, exactly. There's something called stock lines that can really help you.
Well, so my last question on this is also one of these things, and I wonder, like, JR, if you've caught your kids doing this. Several teens.
Have we moved on to a different topic?
No, please.
Adult.
He talks. So in the article, he talks about several teens describing their use of AI to quote puzzle through past human interactions then rehearse upcoming ones. Now, have you seen your kids rehearse with AI like an interaction?
No, I mean
have?
it's not like they do it at the dining table,
right?
And we do have a dining table. I could have said
by the way, that's a
kitchen table,
Manhattan
so
brag.
close.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that. I don't suspect that. I would hope they wouldn't come to that. But I do have I do have a really fun memory of, again, way back when I was probably in high school. Like it had to be the high school, maybe even junior high. What we call junior high and middle school, they call it here. I have a brother that's 1 year older than me, and at one point we shared a bedroom. So I found a piece of paper sitting by the phone.
Oh God, I'm already embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
Plug-in dial phone.
Yeah.
And that had notes on it for a call he was going to make to a girl he liked.
Oh.
So
That's
I
worse
gave
than
him an endless
masturbating.
amount of shit for it.
I know. It is worse than masturbating.
Don't read it. I'm hideous. But it was literally like, what's your favorite color?
Oh,
it's just,
no.
but at least like, I kind of I commend him for at least like doing that to like, he's just, because you're nervous, right? You're nervous. It's just a different way out of it. But like I try to tell, like I tell my son, just do what you're going to do. Just what people usually give it, be yourself sort of thing. But it really goes down to like, it's harder, it's harder to fail with a person than it is with a bot, right? So like you got to get used to failing with people. I'm all about like failure. Like if I want to see my kids fail, because that means they're trying to do something that they don't know how to do, and they're not going to learn how to do it without failing. So like it just has to be repeated failure, and that happens all the time with social interactions. And if you're conscious of it, then you can get better at it by thinking about it on a deeper level, rather than just trying to depend and lean into something that is giving you just sort of this stock average advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that line in the piece. It was something like, to succeed, you need experience, and to have experience, you need failure. And that's just the way you build it up.
That's exactly it. Well, folks, have you rehearsed upcoming conversations with AI? I am wildly curious, because that felt, I guess also as I did not have documents like that in my arsenal, JR, from my youth of like rehearsing situations. I just was like oddly shocked by it. So anyways, I'm fairly curious to hear.
It's like, with all the other stuff that's going on with all the AI stuff, it literally is. It's weird to now go back and watch episodes of Black Mirror and be like, yeah, I can see
that's
that.
happening. Yeah. That's where we're at.
But this shit's old. Black Mirror is behind the times already.
Black Mirror's quaint.
Yeah. People were getting sent lovers in the mail from that looked exactly like their dead husband. And we're like, I think I saw.
What's weird about that?
I think I can get that on Amazon.
Oh, all right, folks. That is the end of the show. I want to thank everyone who makes the show a possibility. That's our wonderful producer, Rob Heath, and Gaby also wrote our theme music. I want to thank our panelists. Oh, my God. I want people of Fake the Nation to be able to follow you and the wonderful things that you do. J.R. Havlan, where do they do that?
MySpace?
Friendster.
Are you guys still on Friendster? Also, my mailing address is 333.
Yeah. Plug your blog spot.
No, I mean I'm on Facebook under my own name and on Instagram under Emmys for Sale. with a 4 instead of spelling it out because
Emmys for Sale
I'm a
was
hipster.
taken?
Yeah, probably. Emmys for Sale 2. You know what I mean? Which I'll make it quick, but it was.
By the way, he has a lot of Emmys, which is why he's able to have that. Yeah.
I was in LA once and saw a license plate that was unique 27. So I'm on those, but I'm also working on a book that I'm excited about with a friend of mine named Brian Page, who is a certified financial planner for families and stuff, but also like a fair play advocate. Do you know what that is, Negin? Fair play for like couples.
Okay, no.
And so it's all about learning how to share the financial and chore loads around a household and the mental loads that go along with that. And so it's a really big kind of expanding thing, and it's really important stuff for relationships. And we're writing sort of a comedy bathroom reader for that. That's going to be illustrated by a guy who a contributor for the New Yorker and stuff too. So I'm excited about that.
All
Hopefully
right,
something like
I'm
that will come out by the
excited,
end.
and I'm sure you'll hopefully come back on the show and talk about it.
Oh, sure, yeah. When I finally have something to actually plug. Other than, well, I don't know, I got a new bicycle.
You can find him as Negin's friend.
I should just
At Negin's friend 572.
Literally, JR is one of the most decorated writers in all of comedy writing for television. So he self-deprecates, but the man has chops. All right, Chandler, where do we find you?
I'm at Chandler J. Dean on everything, and I would love it if anyone listening to this would check out my show Abolish Everything on Nebula, which you can find at nebula.tv/abolish. Previous Fake the Nation guests like Gianmarco Cerezi and Josh Gondelman have been on the show, among, I'm sure, others. It's been so much fun to do, and it showcases a lot of the talent in the New York scene. So I'm very excited about it, and that's where you can find it.
Folks, I've been learning more about the show, and it is literally every comedian that you love in New York, like doing hilarious arguments. It's just really great. So check out this show. And as for me, I will be in Chicago next week because I'll be guest hosting Wait, Don't Tell Me. So
Nice.
if you are in Chicago and would like to come see that show, check out the possibilities of the tickets. I don't really know. I don't handle any of that. Anyways, point is I'll be in Chicago. Don't worry about it. We tape on Thursdays. All right. And you can email us at fakethenationpodcast@gmail.com. And otherwise, we'll be back in your earballs next week.